Hi everybody, it's Katie. Today is a special compilation video for the NIKO Challenge. For more information about the NIKO Challenge, check out the description below. We have a lot to get to today, so let's get right on to it. I know some of you have been asking where I've been this last week. My computer stopped working very well, and every time I tried to record a video, my software would close. It's really not a good way to work, and I lost some of the footage for a couple of the builds, so I decided to go ahead and pause while I waited. Fortunately, all the way back in December, I ordered a brand new birthday present for myself, and my super hype, absolutely massive computer was already on its way to me. It looked as though I was going to have about a 1-week gap before my new computer showed up, but I didn't want to lose progress, so I have still been working on my Happy Home Paradise builds over this last several days, and I'm going to give you a quick tour through the progress that I made while I was away. I'm going to head down to the dock because we need to talk to NIKO. I have 6 different builds that I want to tour and show you the progress that I made. The first home for the day is Annabelle. She asked for a garden for her friends to gather in, so I immediately imagine that Annabelle is the belle of society. I put together a fairly elaborate and kind of elegant, beautiful sort of house for her. So she had this clock that was part of her main house design, and I really felt like the outside needed to be classy. In my mind, Annabelle is really social. She is one of the socialite highlight. Her entire year revolves around the time that she spends with other villagers. She also is kind of picky about the people that comes over. She thinks herself a cut above others sometimes. I do really like the way that the garden has the hedges around the edge over here to the left, and I really love the way that the outside is kind of simple and it looks elegant because it's simple. For the inside of the house, I stuck with that really elegant, elaborate sort of theme and a place to gather with friends. So it just has the living room, and I really love the way that this living room balances because of a lot of symmetry. The second item that Annabelle asked for was the really fancy couches that you can see here. So they are heavily featured in the room, and I tried to keep everything looking super elegant and a little bit posh, just to fit the request that Annabelle has. I really like the way that Annabelle's house came together, and I think that it's exactly what she wanted, a really good place to gather and entertain friends, whether it's inside or outside in her garden. Next up on our visits is Tipper, and I really like her. She is a beautiful cow. I like the fact that she asked for a ranch. In my mind, Tipper didn't grow up in a farming, ranching community. She grew up in town with lots of people and buildings and decided she wanted to get away out into her own idea. Tipper's favorite color is red, so the entire ranch, inside and out, is completely red, including her outfit. I don't think Tipper knows very much about ranching or farming, and I don't know that she's doing terribly well, but she does try hard and she's loving life. I was really excited to use this plot because I hadn't used it yet once before, and it ended up making a beautiful ranch. I decided to do a very different style because I've already done a really classic version for Winnie. For the inside of the house, I used a lot of really good classic ranch style with red everywhere I thought that it would work, and decided that the best background might be a really good feature wall with the brick. Even though that's not a perfect ranch style, I really like the way that the tone was in this room, and I started thinking of Tipper and was inspired by a really good friend of mine who loves this type of style and really also loves loves farming and cows, so I was sort of channeling her and my sister who likes this style and ended up with Tipper's home. I love the way the final build came out for Tipper. Let's go check it out. This is Shari. Her build is up next, and I really had a hard time. She has a theme of house for perennial flowers. The theme itself wasn't the problem. Flowers are fun and easy to decorate. The problem was that she had this big, giant flower rose bed, and it is one of my least favorite items in the game. I just think it's too big. It just doesn't fit. It doesn't work in any of the builds. It's a little bit ridiculous, and it only comes in red and purple, which doesn't work well because it's a dark purple. Okay, enough complaining about the item. In the end, I just gave it a featured spot right in the middle of her garden and decided that Shari loves it, and that's all that matters. Shari works at Pippi's convenience store, and that's perfectly fine for her. And as we go into her house, you'll see I carried over a lot of the yellows. I love the way that the inside of her house came together. It has a little bit of a country style, but also a little bit of a modern look combined together. The division of the room being a kitchen and a dining room is what I really loved most, and a lot of the chairs at the table aren't accessible, but that's really okay with me. I like the way that the room felt beautiful and open, but also kind of real. One of the things that I really did different is that instead of using a feature wall for windows, I used it for the tile wall behind the rest of the kitchen. So just one wall that worked for everything in the room, including just a regular wall on the other side, and the tile wall is a feature wall. If you can see it, I think you'll know what I mean, and I like the effect. With that, Shari's house and build are done. Let's check out her final tour. Kurt asked for a painter's getaway, and I wasn't perfectly sure what he wanted at first. Was he a painter looking for someplace to get away to, or was he looking to get away to someplace and paint? Also, I wasn't sure what kind of paint he wanted, but in the end he came with one of his items being the little painter set. The other items he asked for were the iron table and chair, and all three of these items did not scream Kurt to me. In the end, I decided maybe it was all of the things. Kurt is a professional painter in construction and building. He is an architect by trade. He does a lot of painting for a lot of the construction companies in the area, and he is very creative. He is good at working with his hands and creating masterpieces in a lot of different things. For Kurt, he needed an escape, a vacation home, so that he could get away and think about creativity. In fact, I think Kurt's hobby of choice is woodworking, particularly working with small, complicated wooden items like clocks and music boxes. Inside of his house, I really wanted a good combination of masculine, modern, and woodworking. The very back here by the window is his bench, and it has all the items that he might need, and I put a couple things out that looked like he might have made them himself. I imagine Kurt is really good at it, but I think it's kind of embarrassing to him that he loves this little hobby so much, so for some reason he doesn't share it with anyone else. He comes out here to his vacation home, and that's where he does all of his favorite things. For the rest of this room, I really wanted to bring in a lot of good, rich wood tones, and I wanted it to look very lived in, so there's a little bit of extra clutter. I also kept the patterns very modern and the colors very straightforward. Let's check out Kurt's final vacation home. Next up is Pancetti, and I really think that Pancetti probably is in a big life of high finance. She works and lives in the city, and she's very successful, sassy, and not terribly kind. She's definitely a go-getter. The thing is, she works very hard, way more than just 40 hours a week, and every once in a while when she has vacation time, she wants to get completely away from the city. For Pancetti's theme, she asked for the scent of nature, and that's kind of what inspired me to give her this home that is just completely out here in the middle of the woods. I don't think that this is Pancetti's actual home. This is a B&B that she's rented out for the week so that she could enjoy her vacation out in the middle of nature. I really like the way the outside came together and sort of feels like a B&B to me. And as I moved to the inside of the home, I wanted to keep that consistent. Instead of going with a feel that seemed very much like Pancetti, I actually decided to go with a feel that seemed a lot like B&Bs I've been to in the past. To do that, they are a little bit old-fashioned, kind of quaint, a little bit sweet, sort of older looking, but also renovated and cleaned and usually very well decorated. Pancetti is here on vacation all by herself. I think because of her work schedule and a little bit because of her personality, she doesn't have a lot of close family or friends, but she's very focused on herself and her business and where she's going in her professional life. Pancetti has her suitcase because she's just getting here for her vacation, and I hope that she really enjoys her time here this week because when she goes back to life, everything is going to be super busy again. Let's do a tour of Pancetti's vacation home. Lopez is the last villager tour of the day, and he is also in a life of high finance and works with Pancetti. The difference is that Pancetti is pretty high up in the ranks and Lopez is just a little bit of a low business peon. He's just brand new out of school, pretty young and trying to work his way up in the world, and he really stays in town. For his theme, Lopez asked for a life in the big city, and I really wanted the outside to look as if he was in the middle of town, but also to give his house a little bit of a feature spot, so I picked this plot so that there could be a road at the bottom with his house up on a little bit of a hill. I used the road pattern for the ground, and I put in some of the tulips because they seemed pretty and cultivated and gave the area a little bit of color. The rest of the decorations are elements that maybe don't go exactly where they're placed, but just felt like town to me. Trying to make this really big, busy town look is actually pretty difficult in HHP. I actually think it would have been really cool if one of the plots had a nice big cityscape background, but it doesn't matter because this is sort of what I picked to make that illusion work. Which plots do you guys use for big city or downtown vibes? I'd love to know. Be sure and tell me in the comments below. The inside was much easier for Lopez's house, and here's where I put the items that he really requested, which were the cool modern furniture items. I've decided that Lopez, in addition to being a big city vibe type of a person, is also really into music, particularly jazz. I've added the saxophone because other than working, which let's face it takes up most of his time, if he really is going to do something for himself, he's gonna practice the saxophone, or he might just chill and listen to some sax music in his apartment. On the inside of the apartment, I used this amazing cityscape wall, which goes a long way to creating the theme and the mood for a city on the inside. And I went ahead and used the nice black panel wall as the feature wall. I decided to put the feature wall on the side so I could put the television there and we could really look out and see the city when we first come into the apartment. Just like Pancetti, Lopez works for this company that kind of sucks the life out of you, so he doesn't really get away much for vacation, but in the end, he's trying to work his way up in the world. Let's check out Lopez's final tour. I'd really like to know whether or not you guys enjoyed this big, long recap of a bunch of builds, or if you prefer the shorter, more frequent, small little stories of the villagers in HHP. This is the 6 villagers we did today, and I think we really represented them well. Be sure to let me know in the comments below which version of the videos that you prefer, my regular daily small videos or this larger one. I really enjoyed sorta changing it up a bit, so I might play around with some different varieties of doing HHP videos. You see, I'm getting ready to start my brand new Island Designer series, and I haven't announced the theme yet, but that's going to be a lot of work each week, so I might do a few more of these recaps to make room for the new builds. Thank you again for watching and for all of your support. A lot of you reached out and commented and asked me how I was doing while my computer was down, and I really appreciate that you guys missed the videos. If you're new to my channel and you haven't subscribed yet, please consider doing so if you've made it this far in the video. We'd love to have you as part of the community. I hope you guys found something useful here and continue creating in this game. Until next time, have the best Animal Crossing day.